Imagine stepping outside your shelter 8,000 years ago into a vast, green paradise. You are surrounded by winding rivers, rich wetlands, and plains teeming with wildlife like deer, wild boar, and massive mammoths. You are living in what is arguably the most prosperous and populated region in all of Europe. But within just a few hours, a towering wall of black ocean water, moving at the speed of a jet airliner, will roar over the horizon, completely erasing your entire world from the face of the earth forever. Today, when we look at a map of Europe, we see the North Sea, a cold, stormy body of water that separates Great Britain from Denmark, Germany, and Norway. But for thousands of years, this ocean simply did not exist. Instead, there was a massive landmass that connected the British Isles directly to the European mainland. Archaeologists call this lost country Doggerland, and during the Middle Stone Age, it was the absolute heart of European civilization. The melting of the great ice sheets had left behind incredibly rich soil, and major river systems like the prehistoric Thames and the Rhine flowed right through it, creating massive freshwater lagoons and coastal marshes. Thousands of humans lived here in thriving communities. For generations, this was the golden land of Europe. But right across the water, along the deep, dark underwater cliffs of Scandinavia, a silent and terrifying ticking time bomb was waiting to explode. During the height of the Ice Age, Norway was buried under a colossal ice sheet miles thick. As the earth began to warm and the glaciers melted, an unfathomable amount of glacial debris, billions of tons of mud, clay, gravel, and loose sediment, was washed out into the ocean. This material slowly accumulated on the edge of the Norwegian continental shelf, just off the western coast of Norway. Over thousands of years, this underwater pile of mud grew taller and steeper, sitting precariously on a sharp slope. It was like a colossal mountain of heavy snow perched on the very edge of a roof, waiting for the slightest vibration to trigger a catastrophic avalanche. Around the year 6200 BC, that trigger finally happened. Scientists believe a massive submarine earthquake shook the Norwegian Sea, causing highly pressurized pockets of trapped methane gas to explode beneath the ocean floor. Instantly, the mountain of mud gave way, unleashing the largest underwater landslide in known history, the Storegga Slide. The scale of this collapse defies imagination. A chunk of the continental shelf over 180 miles long suddenly broke apart and liquefied. A colossal torrent of nearly 3,500 cubic kilometers of mud and rock crashed down into the deep ocean at speeds of up to 100 miles per hour. To put that into perspective, it was enough material to bury the entire island of Iceland under a thick, suffocating layer of mud. When that much physical mass moves that quickly at the bottom of the sea, it acts like a giant piston, displacing millions of tons of ocean water above it and launching a terrifying chain reaction of mega-tsunamis across the North Atlantic. Out in the deep, open ocean, these waves moved silently at speeds exceeding 500 miles per hour. But as they raced away from Norway and entered shallower coastal waters, the energy of the waves compressed, transforming them into towering walls of absolute destruction. The first lands to be struck were the coastlines closest to the collapse. The Mega-Tsunami slammed into the western coast of Norway and the northern islands of Scotland with apocalyptic force. Today, when modern geologists dig into the soil of Scotland, they find thick layers of distinct marine sand and ocean seashells buried deep inside peat bogs, miles away from the modern coast and high above sea level. By mapping these deposits, scientists calculated that the tsunami crashed into Scotland at heights of over 40 feet. In the narrow, rocky fjords of western Norway, the water was funneled into tight spaces, forcing the wave to swell to a mind-blowing 80 feet high, snapping entire coastal forests like toothpicks. But the absolute horror of the Storegga Slide occurred in Doggerland. While Norway and Scotland had high cliffs and mountains that allowed some people to flee to higher ground, Doggerland had absolutely no topography. It was entirely flat, a vast expanse of low-lying marshes sitting barely above sea level. When the Mega-Tsunami arrived, there was no warning, no earthquake felt on land, and absolutely nowhere to run. A giant wall of black, freezing ocean water emerged from the horizon and swallowed the entire country in a matter of hours. The wave flooded hundreds of miles inland, sweeping away entire villages, families, and thousands of years of human history into the crushing current of the sea. The immediate force of the tsunami drowned thousands of people instantly, and the salt water contaminated the remaining freshwater lagoons, turning the paradise of Europe into a barren, salted wasteland overnight. When the ocean water finally settled, the geography of Europe had been changed forever. Doggerland never recovered. The combination of the massive tsunami and rising global sea levels meant that the country was permanently submerged, resting forever at the bottom of what we now call the North Sea. Great Britain was permanently cut off from mainland Europe, transformed from a connected peninsula into an isolated island. To this day, the ghosts of Doggerland still haunt the modern world. Commercial fishermen operating in the North Sea frequently pull up haunting reminders of this lost world in their nets: beautifully preserved prehistoric human bones, flint tools, harpoons carved from antler, and the massive teeth of long-extinct mammoths. The Storegga Slide is a chilling reminder of just how fragile our existence on this planet really is. It shows us that a single event, happening hundreds of miles away in the dark depths of the ocean, can completely erase an entire civilization and reshape the map of the world in a single afternoon. If a submarine landslide of that magnitude happened today, it would devastate some of the largest coastal cities on Earth, including New York, London, or Tokyo. It makes you wonder, with all of our advanced technology, early warning systems, and satellites, could our modern civilization actually survive a mega-tsunami on the scale of the Storegga Slide? Or are we just as vulnerable to the sudden, overwhelming wrath of nature as our ancestors were 8,000 years ago? Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments below, and if you love deep dives into the world's most incredible historical mysteries, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Until next time, stay curious.